We did it, guys. We got the YouTube Silver Play Button Award. And for those of you that don't know what this award's for, it's when your YouTube channel reaches 100,000 subscribers. I can't even believe I'm saying this. And I wanted to say thank you for everybody who has subscribed to this channel. It means so much to me. I would not be where I'm at today on YouTube if it wasn't for all of you wonderful folks tuning in every week, commenting on my videos, sharing my videos, liking my videos. Thank you so much. It means so much to me. And if you're not familiar with this channel, my name's Josh. This channel is all about building your own house, saving a ton of money, so be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video, and hammer that like button for me. A lot of people ask, how did I learn how to do all the different trades? And another thing they get asked a lot is, what do I do for my second full-time job? Well, I'm going to explain that at the end of this video, but let's first go over my construction history. My construction career started when I was 13 years old. My dad needed a good construction laborer, so me and my brothers were excellent for the job. So that's where I learned how to carry 2x4s, how to help lift walls, how to be a gopher, you name it, we were doing it. And that was probably some of the best life lessons at an early age I think any young boy could learn. And yes, he did pay us a little bit of a wage, and it was very nice as a kid to see, hey, I can work and make money. So that was always great motivation to learn that, hey, if you work hard, you can prosper. So I learned that at a very young age. So what happened is I worked clear through high school doing that process. And also in high school, I took up some construction classes, so that helped sharpen my skills up a little more. Seeing with different carpenters, the teacher per se was the one that showed me a couple different skills. And then I carried those on into my adulthood as well. And also, when I turned 19, my dad made a deal with me, hey, let's go build a house and then I'll finance it to you as long as you pay me back at the end of the build. You go out and get your own loan and all that, we'll do it. And I agreed to that. And looking back at it, that was a big risk that he and my mother took on. So I wanted to say thank you for that, parents. So that was my start with the whole construction building of my own. So in the meantime, while I was building my first house with my father, I was doing construction jobs like working as a carpenter for other construction companies. I worked for a company building steel buildings. I worked for Home Depot installing doors. I even worked for a company building log furniture at one point. So I've had various jobs in different carpentry aspects here. So it's definitely helped me see a broad outlook on the construction field, which was very handy throughout life. So that's how I got my first initial start in building houses. In the middle of building my first house, I had my first daughter, and she is now a teenager at this point, and I can't even believe that. She's getting ready to drive here soon, and it's just mind-boggling. But after the house was finished, the 2008 crisis happened. Those of you that's not familiar with what happened in 2008, what happened was banks were loaning out subprime mortgages to people that really could not afford them. So when the bubble burst, it collapsed the whole housing market, and any construction jobs that were out there dried up. I ended up losing my construction job, and I was getting foreclosure notices on my house that I built that was really cheap to begin with because I did all the work myself, me and my father. So that was a big thing that happened to me that made me wonder, like, you know, I did everything right. I tried to save money and all this, and I'm still getting foreclosure notices. What did I do wrong? So what I ended up doing at that time was looking for any job. So I ended up doing what was called reforestation, and that's where I went to clear cuts and replanted them for landowners that were having their timber logged off their property. So I did that in the springtime, and it wasn't very stable because, again, it was only seasonal in the spring. So what I ended up doing was going to college for business finance at the time. So between doing that and the tree planting and doing some odd and end jobs, I was able to make ends meet, and my wife was a beautician at the time, so she was bringing in a little bit of money. So we just barely made it there for a while, and it was probably some of the lowest points financially in my life. I'm sure you just noticed I said my wife, and yes, in the middle of all that, I still managed to get married somehow through all that. So while learning about business finance in college, I started digging a little deeper to see what was the key to staying afloat in situations like this. And I came to the conclusion that being debt-free was really the key into staying afloat when there's a huge market drop. So what I decided to do was taking a little advice from Dave Ramsey. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he is a financial advisor that really stresses the importance of getting out of debt. So I figured that is the path I need to do. So what I did is I went ahead and listed my house for sale, and I sold my house, moved in with my in-laws with my wife, and we went ahead and decided to buy a lot that's in another town that was totally different than the town I lived in, and started building another house while I continued college, planted trees. She was a beautician, like I said, so we continued what we could do through the meantime, and we got the house built. And that is when things really changed, because I ended up switching my major in the middle of building that house to a totally different degree. That was a much more high demand. I'll get to that in just a minute. And then things changed for the better. So at this point in the story, my wife and I are moved into the second house. I'm working a job using my degree, so I have a steady job. I'm still doing construction on the side with my father, so I'm maintaining my skills throughout all this. And I'm still working at that about as hard as I'm working on my regular job. And my wife decided to go back to college, and we had a little girl in the meantime, so it's my second daughter at this time. And now I always had it in the back of my mind, I wanted to be debt free. So I know I had to build another house and keep that going, or save a ton of money doing something totally different than construction. So I figured, hey, I have a good little foothold here. I'm going to go out on a limb, take a little bit more risk that I really didn't want to take. But what happened was the bank contacted me, that was my lender at the time, and was like, hey, we have some foreclosed lots. Would you be interested in them? I went and checked them out. The deal was too good to pass up. So what I ended up doing was buying several foreclosed lots, building my third house for myself on, building a spec house on one, and then holding the other one for an investment property. For those of you that's not familiar with the term spec house, what a spec house is a speculative house. Speculative means you buy a lot, then you build a house on it, given a criteria in which people are buying in that area. So for instance, if a 1,500 square foot house with a single car garage is selling like hotcakes in an area, that's what you want to build, is a spec house. So you take the risk of building a house that doesn't have a buyer at all, and then after you build it, you sell it to somebody that's out in the market looking for one. And then when I was building that spec house, that's when I decided to start my YouTube channel. I was influenced by a YouTuber named Graham Stephan. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's a huge YouTuber, but he always broke down the benefits of doing a YouTube channel, and he's a finance channel. So I figured, hey, why not give it a shot and see what happens? So thank you, Graham Stephan, for putting out those videos to give me the influence to start this YouTube channel. Now it's time to disclose what I do for my second full-time job. I am a respiratory therapist, and for those of you that don't know what a respiratory therapist is, it is a medical professional that assesses and treats lung issues. So we do oxygen therapy, we do BiPAP therapy, CPAP therapy, bronchodilator therapy. We do assistance with intubation and putting people on ventilators, also known as life support. So we do an array of things with the lungs. We can be found in ERs, acute cares, adult ICUs, PICUs, NICUs. We also work in sleep labs, stress testing labs. We do pulmonary function testing. So there's a lot of jobs you can do being a respiratory therapist, and almost all of them can be found in the hospital. And there's some home health that people can do as well, to where you don't work the 3 12-hour shifts, which that's what I do. And without that, I couldn't do all that I do. So the 3 12-hour shifts gives me the flexibility to work 4 days off from the respiratory therapy job. So between both building and respiratory therapy, I create enough income to where I don't have to worry about if one or the other fails. So that's always a nice peace of mind to have. And if you guys did not see that coming, be sure to leave that in the comments below. I'm really looking forward to seeing what a lot of people think about this. And if you have any experience in respiratory therapy, let me know that as well, because it's a very odd career to be in for a lot of people, because it seems like no one comes out of high school and says, oh, I want to be a respiratory therapist. It's typically, oh, I went to nursing and decided to do respiratory, or something of that nature. So let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on all this, because I know a lot of people probably didn't see that coming. And also, this is what it looked like without a hat on. I have spent most of my respiratory therapy job working in the adult ICU, and in the past couple years I've been working mainly the ER and acute care. And you can only imagine how busy respiratory therapy has been in the past couple years with the virus that has been going around that everybody knows about. And I wanted to say again, thanks a lot everybody who has subscribed. You guys mean so much to me. And I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.